All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We are the brothers of Great Millstone Charlotte coming at you with another live lesson. Pardon me, pre-recorded lesson through the Holy Spirit. Before we get started, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and rule well. Peace, blessings, and mercy be unto the house of David. Haba Yafta Avodah, the hopeful elect. To you all we say Shalom.
Shalom.
I'm the brother Itazawam, and with me.
Juan.
And the title of this lesson is The Rise of Anti-Feminism Among Gen Z Men and Women. All right, because as we see, the world is opposing the order that this devil is trying to indoctrinate the masses of the people into. The world, the creation itself, is at odds to this NWO. All right, this pseudo kingdom governed by the biblical Edomites who now identify themselves as so-called white people. All right, so we'll start with this article. We'll get some precepts and Lord willing, this be edifying. But you got anything, Quanwaf?
No.
Come on, let's start with that Ecclesiastes.
Okay. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 5. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler.
Right, so there's an evil that is proceeding from the governance of this devil, right? Remember the book of Malachi, the first chapter, speaks of how Esau is the border of wickedness, right? So the wickedness, the evil that's proceeding from the world is a direct correlation to the one that has been given the governance and authority to rule, right?
That's right. Keep on.
Mm-hmm.
Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place.
Right. Folly is set in great dignity. It's esteemed, right, for fun. It's esteemed for pleasures. It's esteemed for things that are really trivial to be held in the highest regard possible, right? And it says the rich sit in low places, speaking of you Israelites, man, right? You're the ones that are at the bottom. But in turn, you are the ones that were set up to actually govern the earth in its proper order, right? You were the ones that the Lord gave the law, statutes, and commandments to set up a righteous governing on the world, on the planet, And see, what's happening is the Lord is restoring the judges. If you know where that's at,
Jeremiah.
First chapter, the Lord is restoring the judges to govern the people, right? And people are becoming, keen to the way of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai through the Holy Spirit residing upon these judges, man. Okay?
This is
26th verse.
Is it Jeremiah 26? Or Isaiah?
It might be Isaiah. Yes, Isaiah.
It's Isaiah 1:26. It reads, "And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city."
All right, and that restoration is taking place right now, right? With the Lord restoring to us that breath, right? So now that breath is being spoken through the prophets, and the Spirit is as the wind. It's traveling throughout the entire world, and it's changing the course of people's minds, right? And if they don't change their course of mind, then they're condemned. Okay? We go back to that Ecclesiastes 10. Read the last verse, verse 7.
It's Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 7. "I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth."
All right, and these servants, right, that are now in this high stature, these heathen, right, they're not governing the world correctly, right? But us, the princes, Yasha'Allah, prince of the power, right, we've been subject to these heathen. It's tied to our disobedience to the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but us being restored and receiving of that breath, we see that there's a change on how things are operating. As brothers speak about that transition, right, from one ruler to the next. We're betwixt that split where people are starting to detach themselves and come out of this system, mentally, spiritually, right? Now let's jump into this article to show further proof of that, right? It says, this is an article from Prospect. Um, there's no date on here, but it says the title of the article is "The Women Who Hate Feminism." While concern focuses on extreme sexism among young men, a growing number of Gen Z women are buying into misogynistic thinking. Now, when you go into this word misogynistic, it means strongly prejudiced against women. So how is it that women are buying into strong prejudice against women? Right? That makes absolutely no sense. You look into this definition of feminism. The definition of feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. And see, this is the madness that has came out of Babylon. This idea of equality, equal rights, liberation, right? All of that was in a pursuit to further you from the way of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? That wasn't to actually free you for your betterment, but rather your destruction. We went into a lesson years ago, right, about how too much liberty is not good,
Right.
you know? And that's a byproduct of this man's hegemony, right? That do is that wolf spirit. Going into the article, it says since 2022, the year that Andrew Tate went viral online, a specter has haunted headlines, school playgrounds, and children's smartphones. The rise in anti-feminism among boys. This often violent ideology, adopted by young men and boys in droves, promotes conservative gender roles. The idea that women are inferior to men and that progress on women's rights in the past 50 years has been detrimental to society. Now, this is statistical.
Right.
You can pull the statistics and remove your emotions and your feelings out of the agenda that this article is trying to promote. And you'll see that it's actually proven that yes, the progression, right, quote unquote, of women's rights in the past 50 years has been detrimental to society. Why is that? Because the Lord has created everything to operate how it's set to be. So when you remove the woman from the order that she was set in, you indirectly and directly affect households and society at large.
Right.
You got something?
I was just going to add to you that, you know, that word misogyny going into the hatred of women, women have been taught to perceive order as hatred.
Mm-hmm.
They've been taught to, look at them being in their right, natural place, as oppression.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we see now. There's a quote from Jurassic Park. It said, "Nature always finds a way." So your true nature is always going to find its way out eventually. And this is what we're starting to see is that women are in the mindset of, I'm tired of having to fight against my what I was born to be, because that's what it really is. And that's why you see so many unhappy people out here, is because they're moving contrary to the way the Lord had designed them to, man.
Quick precept for you. Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein.
Right. So those old paths are being represented. Right. First, it starting with the prophets. Right. But now we're seeing that being pushed in the mainstream. So now people are seeing, because there was a point where these things weren't taught, they weren't shown, people didn't even know they existed.
Mm-hmm.
But now they see that as an option, and they're like, why was I doing the opposite?
Right.
Why how did I get tricked into believing that I was supposed to move in the direct opposition to the way I was designed to?
Right. And ye shall find rest for your souls.
So that's where the comfort is going to be at, man. Right? Everybody is unhappy because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's really what it comes down to. Just like how Jake is in a state of destitution because they're not serving the Lord. The rest of the world is in a state of mourning because the leaders have tricked the people into moving in a way that they weren't born to do, man.
That's it. it says, but they said, we will not walk therein.
Hmm. That's that pride that Esau is what's the word, allowed to permeate throughout the earth, man.
Hmm.
Right? The free will or illusion thereof, and things of that nature.
Yep. Jumping back to the article, it says these messages and disseminated by quote alpha influencers like Tate, who suggest that women should be seen as men's property or that rape is permissible in certain circumstances. And that's true. See, what people don't want to address is the elephant in the room. These are practices that happen throughout the world.
Right.
Rape happens through the world, right? Women are the property of men. They're under your covering, right? It's only that within Babylon the Great
Right.
that these women have developed a mindset that they are actually equal to men.
Right.
Really, their mind is that they're above men,
Exactly.
right? So to hell with that equal rights shit. You want to be equal, you play your role. Because I made the analogy before, like with the relationship, with the marriage, that's a business.
Right.
You can't have the COO step into the position of the executive vice president. You can't have them as the chief financial officer. You can't have them as the vice secretary. You playing too many roles to where you tweak out,
Exactly.
you know? And that's, again, it's a detriment to households and it is a detriment to society at large. See, because what women want to hear is that they are appreciated, that they are seen as valuable. And you are.
Right.
When you shut the fuck up and step into your lane.
Exactly.
When you deviate out of that, yeah, you're going to have spite towards you. Yes, because you're not listening. You're not adhering to the man that's over you. You are in opposition to the fabric of society being forwarded in a proper way.
Right. Because it only exists in westernized society.
Yep.
Right. When you go east, these things don't exist.
Exactly.
You go into the even you go the so-called Middle East, you don't find this, which they're trying to push that out there. You go into the Africa, these things are trying to be pushed out there, but they fight back against it. Right? You go into Asia, right? They fight vehemently against this because they see the detriment that it happens to their societies, man, and they see what happens to the places that have accepted it. So you go into places like Japan, or you go into Western Europe, right? All these places are in a state of degradation because they've allowed this feminist ideology to permeate their societies.
Con. Yep. Real quick. Let's read the corner off. Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Right. This is a new thing, man. Women, the way Esau structured society was to give enough convenience to where women felt free from having to be or need the hedge of a man. That's why you see the metropolis.
Salakia, we had an interruption. Jeremiah 31:22, it says, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Right. So, as we see, right, this is a new phenomenon to enter the earth, man. There were independent instances of it, right? Back in ancient times, but what we see today is this Western ideology, that was started with Esau. It's starting to penetrate and permeate throughout the earth, and the nations are fighting up against it, man. Right. So you see whether you see the detriment that it brings to a nation by the places that have accepted it. So going into places like Japan, places like Western Europe, you're starting to see those cities, to be in a state of destitution now, and you see that the communication and the relationship between men and women is failing because of this Western ideology. But you see a strengthening in those Eastern practices. So
Right.
places like Russia, places like China, places like Iran, and the Middle East. Right, there's a bolstering the relationships between men and women there because everybody's in their natural roles.
Exactly. And that's what people want. They want to be in their roles, but they've been villainized. Right? Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call good evil and evil good, roughly paraphrasing.
Right.
Right? It's been villainized to pursue after you being a helpmate. It's been villainized for men to be masculine and heads and patriarchs of their family and households.
Right.
Right? But regardless of that, the course of this world is passing away, pursuing the 1 Corinthians 7:31. The fashion of this world passeth away. So where is everybody going to revert to? Like you said, they're going to revert back to nature.
Right.
Everything is setting itself back in order.
Exactly. Even as you see, as society starts to crumble, right, people resort back, you know, because those conveniences are gone, right? Because the things that allowed them to act in a certain way, what's the word? Enabled them, right? Because people don't do this on their own volition. They do it because they've been given the so-called freedom to. But once the freedom to act in this way, in this manner, is gone, then they're gonna resort back to the what nature intended, or what the Lord intended.
Khan. It says, we'll grab this last paragraph and get this precept and then we'll wrap. It says, across social media, there is a boom in right-wing women pushing a repackaged version of these anti-feminist ideologies, providing guidance and blueprints. They show and tell young women how they can perform the role of a good woman, propping up the misogynistic philosophy of some young men. A substantial portion of reactionary young women are beginning to buy into these ideas, right? They're beginning to seek out the old ways,
Yep.
right? Because clearly you failed them. See, that's the elephant in the room that these people, they don't want to address. Feminism has failed you, women.
Yeah.
Right? You men that have bought into feminism, it's failed you as well. You simp niggas.
Right.
You know? Everybody lost taking on the doctrines and the philosophies of Babylon the Great America. You lost. All right? So now where do you turn to? You turn to the east. You turn to the way of Yahweh Shem Shai, the way that is good.
Right.
Could you grab Isaiah 3:12, Baba Kushal? And look at the commentary on it. Because again, you women have a great role, but you gotta play in your role.
Right.
You step out of that, that's when shit gets real out of hand.
Exactly. And it's like men have acknowledged, right, specifically, Jake, where they were infiltrated, and you see that they feel that where they were being used and abused by these government practices, right, in order to bring detriment to their society. But women haven't acknowledged those facts yet. Mm-hmm. They haven't taken the accountability of, we allow these people to mentally control us into destroying our families.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths.
Right. So women and children are their oppressors. Speaking of, the Edomites, right? But it can also be applied to children because these badass kids out here, they do oppress, our people, right? But the point being made is that women rule over them, right? And they're in a position of leadership, and it causes our people to err and destroys the way of our path. Now, you go into the commentary for Isaiah 3, David Guzek, it says, this was seen as a curse, not a blessing. Mm-hmm. Certainly, the Most High may raise up particular women at particular times to be leader in different spheres. Deborah and Esther are examples of this. But this is entirely different from a society where, in general, women rule over them. Such a society is cursed, not blessed. Again, the Most High both declares and bemoans his judgment on Judah that they have been given incompetent and ungodly leadership. So the shift that people are seeing is a direct correlation to the leadership that was put into their hands, which was them.
Exactly.
These women were put into the position of leadership. You were given the freedom and liberty, and in your pursuit, you cause everyone to err, even yourselves, because you're not meant to lead. That's pretty much it, because I gotta...
Okay.
get back at it. So, Lord willing, hey, you brothers and sisters were edified through the Holy Spirit. Close out giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and rule well. Peace, blessings, and mercy to the house of David. Hopefully elect to always say shalom.
Shalom.